All right, welcome to our latest installment in our Rage of Empire series. I am Joe from Thunk Tank Podcast, and I'm back here again with Tommy.
Hello.
And today we are, by popular demand, actually, because we had several people on Reddit request this matchup of Byzantines versus Huns. So that is what we are doing today. We're doing a 4v4. I'm playing as the Huns in blue, as Sir Labs, and we have Tommy Boy playing as Double Gano in the red, and he is playing as the defenders, I guess, the Byzantines.
Yeah, well, they are a defensive civ.
The great defensive civilization. So I'll take the fog of war off so we can see the whole map. So if this is the first time that you're joining us, welcome. We here in this extension of Thunk Tank Podcast like to play us some Age of Empires 2 games and do not really historical reenactments, but we like to talk about the history, myself being a professor and you being an upcoming teacher
Right.
of
history.
history.
Historical gist.
The historical gist. And yeah, it was funny. So we did a couple of episodes. I think the first one we did, we had the most views, and that was Aztecs versus Spanish. And of course, that's a classic matchup. Not great for everybody involved, but it's classic for many reasons. And yeah, we posted online to see what people wanted more of, and Byzantines and Huns was a very popular one. So we are playing each. You see, I'm on the other side of the map from Tom, and we are allied each with 3 of our own teams. So I have 3 other Huns players with me, and Tom has 3 other Byzantine players with him on hardest difficulty.
And which map was this again?
Oh, so we settled. That's actually a good point, or a good question. So we were trying to figure out what map would mimic terrain that would be most appropriate for these civs. And there are certain terrains that obviously are, like, there's Mongolia, if you want to play Mongols, right? There's Yucatan for the Mesoamerican civs, which we did when we played Spanish versus Aztecs. And then for this, we were trying to decide. We couldn't really figure out, so we wound up, like, we were thinking Bohemia, maybe, kind of like that Germanic, like Eastern European vibe, and we wound up going with Arabia, I think. The all-in-one map, Arabia.
Essentially.
Yeah, I mean, minus oceans and that sort of thing, but yeah, you see I got a little pond here.
Yeah, a few shorefish.
If only I was the Malay civ.
Oh, you could monopolize that.
I could clean up
capitalize.
Here. Yeah. So, yeah, so to place your bets now on who you think will win in this classic matchup. Obviously, there's interesting attributes for both of these civs. These are very different civs, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I dare say essentially opposites. I mean, Byzantines are an
in a lot of
extremely
ways.
Defensive civ, and the Huns are very offensive.
Yeah, and I think that definitely plays into the Huns' advantage, and that's sort of kind of along the lines of what their vibe is as an offensive civilization, that even if you're a defensive civilization, I feel like you're at a disadvantage for somebody who's going up against a civilization that's as mobile as the Huns, because that's really their strength, is that they're mobile, but they can also, even buildings with defensive bonuses, like the Huns' whole thing in this game is that they can take down defensive buildings.
Yeah, and another unique tech for them is they don't need to build houses.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting
huge.
one. Yeah,
so waste any resources on houses.
Yeah, and you can use those resources, obviously, for other purposes. And that's something we talked about. I think it's actually really cool, and a lot of people online were talking about it, where one of the things that makes this game so unique is that a lot of the technologies and special units and bonuses and that sort of stuff, they aren't necessarily how that civilization would have actually functioned, but within the context of the game, they're sort of mimicking the attributes of that civilization. So, for example, we pointed out in the last one how the Mongols, their siege weapons, one of their upgrades is that their siege weapons move 50% faster. And I think I read online somebody said that if you fully garrison a ram, it goes as fast as like a light cavalry or something like that. Yeah, so exactly. Like, and what the Mongols did in reality, so you should go back and watch our Mongol video, but What they did in reality, we talked about, was that they would bring siege engineers with them to siege cities, as opposed to drag the siege weapons with them, and they would just use whatever was around to build siege weapons, so they could move insanely faster than any other army could at the time. So the technology in this game, or the the technological upgrade in this game, sort of mimics that advantage.
Oh yeah, it reflects the historical context for sure. But that's funny you mentioned that as another thing the Byzantines have going for them. Not really going to see it in this map because it's Arabia, but Greek fire.
Oh, okay.
That might be a new DLC tech, I believe, actually. But the Greek fire.
That's right.
They utilized early form of napalm very early on, and
if we go to
and that recipe is actually lost to history. Nobody has it anymore. It got lost.
It's weird that like
try to speculate what it was.
Most civilizations get Greek fire. I mean, get fire ships, but the Greek fire gives them 1+ range. I would think it would give them more attack, but okay,
that
whatever.
Stuff wasn't. Yeah, they didn't f around with that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just this kind of resiny, kind of explosive pine residue that kind of just shot out liquidy, and it could set the sea itself on fire essentially, and it just couldn't be put out by water.
It's like wildfire in Game of Thrones.
Pretty much, yeah. You couldn't stop it, and so you can imagine back in the day, it's pretty terrifying.
We've talked about that too. How in Game of Thrones also does this in terms of George R.R. Martin. He loves to mimic or mime or whatever you want to call it, historical attributes of different civilizations and weave them into the cultures of his own civilizations. And that's why you find so many of the different kingdoms in Game of Thrones. You're like, oh, that's basically
it reflects
the Spanish or the Vikings or whatever. You find elements of those cultures everywhere. So the Byzantines, I know, I think you said in the past they're your favorite civilization.
They used to be.
Oh, somebody's souring on the Byzantines, huh?
Yeah, because I learned that in Age of Empires, for the most part, you really can't play defensively. You have to be offensive, and you have to be fast. You can't hunker down. It's very difficult to pull off a win like that.
I think you can play defensively against AI.
Yeah,
but
if so, you have to take out those AI quickly. If you wait too long, they get very difficult. But you can hold out against them, but it's very hard.
Yeah. And it depends what settings you're playing on. If you're playing on standard 200 pop, it's doable in a lot of cases, but a lot of it comes down to map control and resource access, right?
Ludicrous 400 is much more difficult.
Yeah, Ludicrous 400 pop is a different game plan. I would not recommend it, but we'll do it sometime. That will be a long cast, but we'll do it sometime. So anyways, I want to talk more about the Byzantines in a little bit, but before we get to that, I just want to mention, from my perspective as the Huns, I think, again, one of the things that you see mirrored here is in terms of when these civilizations are at their strongest. And I think the Huns, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure Spirit of the Law or T90 will, but I think Huns are strongest in late game, in Imperial Age, because once you have a stable enough economy and you can just churn out their unique unit, which we'll see later on, the Tarkin, and start to spam them, to me, they seem pretty much unstoppable. They're almost like the mobile version of the Goths in this game.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Goths are really good at spamming Huskarls, which are like the ultimate infantry spam, and I think the Huns are the cavalry version of that with their Tarkin. So my strategy here was just to get up to Castle Age as fast as I could. Not as fast as I could, but survive to the Castle Age. Try to get there with a strong enough economy where I could, switch from light cav into Tarkins. So you see I started right away in the Feudal Age, started to make scout cav, and I figured I would start to raid, some of the Byzantine players just to keep them on their toes and keep them from getting too cemented in. And I think that is how you beat a defensive civ like the Byzantines. Like, don't let them get entrenched. Like, don't let them go offensive on you too early either. Like, you have to take the offensive against them, because if they start coming after you and you don't get to get those advancements in Castle and Imperial Age, I think you're in big trouble. So you see, even in the Feudal Age, I'm making going for a scout rush
Smart.
with these. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what you think about that, but how does that compare or contrast with your strategy here?
So the Byzantines, I used to play them a lot because I used to like playing longer games that involved just holding out against the AI. But I did learn very quickly that you can't do that in real games against real people because they're not going to wait. They're going to attack you in Dark Age sometimes. So I kind of tried to branch out and use other civs instead. And the Byzantines I've gravitated away from. They are good, though. They are excellent in post-imp. Cataphracts are great. They're the only cavalry unit in the game that are resistant to pikemen, spearmen, halberdiers.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they're very useful in that sense. They have, oh my god, they have so many good techs too. I mean, they have all the economy techs, I think.
Yeah, pretty wide tech tree.
I mean, the only big one they're missing, well, they are missing masonry, but still their castles are the strongest in the game.
Well, that's why they're missing masonry and architecture. So that doesn't even really
unstoppable. They'd be like a 10,000 HP.
Well, that does, so the fact that they're missing them is kind of obsolete.
Yeah,
and
that's a very
you're
good
right.
point.
You see, they have a lot of. The Byzantines are interesting because they have so much going for them. You see, they have such a pretty wide tech tree,
and they can upgrade to the Imperial Age quicker.
Yeah,
a lot less food, I think.
Yeah, they have a lot going for them. I think what you're pointing out about how they don't stand out is like sort of their weakness. Like, there's nothing about them that gives them an edge like the Huns, where it's like once you get to Imperial Age and you can just start spamming Tarkans, how do you stop that? Same thing with the Goths. Like, if you can attack the Goths before they get to Imperial Age or Castle Age or whatever, Goth players can be in trouble, right? But once they're in Imperial Age,
well, the Byzantines are very well-rounded, and I'm reflecting now upon this match. I'm thinking that 4 Byzantine teammates is a terrible idea. Byzantines are a great teammate to have, but not if you have 3 other teammates that are all Byzantines.
Yeah,
like they're a great.
That may be true.
They'd probably be a great pocket civ.
That's a good point.
I would assume, but a whole team of 4, not a great idea.
And so you see what I did here, because I think I was hiding in the pocket here.
Oh yeah, you were pocketed hard.
Yeah, so I mean, really, what I should be doing is booming and tributing my allies, I guess, and scouting. But I even went in with this light cav across the map just to harass one of the Byzantine players, just to try to get them off their balance, you know, even a little bit. And you see I did that where I sent some light cav in, and then I retreated, and then I just kept making more light cav and then sending them across the map, retreating them as need be, harassing their villagers while I can.
That's what the Huns do best.
Apparently so. I think they're great at it. So if we look at the Huns, yeah, the no house bonus is huge, I think. And they have some other bonuses that we'll talk about in a little bit. The fact that the stables work 20% faster, they make units 20% faster, that's huge too. Because again, once you get that other unique upgrade to make their unique unit at stables in the Imperial Age, good luck stopping that. And so you see I'm like harassing them, getting them off their wood here. That's going to put back...
Yeah, that was a good move.
These guys
that was a good move on your part.
Yeah, it's going to delay them from getting to the Castle Age.
You learned from the last match.
Yeah, see, all their woodsmen are retreating and going to the other side, which actually is a move that you would probably do as an actual player. I know this is AI, and it's on hardest, but robots are still a little finicky sometimes. But I mean, that's what I would do as a real life player, unless you wanted to palisade your wood line. But it's not a bad move. I mean, if I was a real player, I'd probably move to this wood line and tower it or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, I think those are the basic strategies, though. And what I would have done if I were you, though, is I would have gone offensive much earlier than you did here.
Oh, sure.
Like,
I tried. I was way too late.
Yeah, I like right now in the feudal age, I would have been feudal rushing some of the Hun players. Because you look at Green right now, Green has nothing. Like, Green has...
I got some guys. I don't have anything.
But I mean, if you went in against some archers and light cav, like, you could do a pretty good job with some spearmen.
Maybe,
You know? Go in with some spearmen... Like maybe some skirms of your own, like it wouldn't cost you a lot, and you could probably clean this up. But now you see they're starting to build up with archers. So I would have, if I were you, I would have tried to hit the player to my, because you were on the corner, right, on the flank. I would have tried to hit the player right next to me right away. You could have gotten, this gold is wide open, for example. You could have really messed him up, man. Where were you, bro?
I was sleeping.
You were trying to go defensive. Also, your housing, I hate to break it to you, but your housing is terrible.
Is it?
What is this?
Oh yeah, I should put it in front, right?
Well, you should use it to wall off this tree line, first of all.
Well, the tree line's gone.
No, but I'm saying... Okay, fair enough.
I ate all the trees.
Fair enough. But the houses do nothing for you back here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you can't use them as
I forget
defensive
about that
barriers.
sometimes. I used to always build them behind.
See, even I'm palisading, dude.
Yeah, look at you. I'm surprised palisading is a pocket.
I will say I'm not a great player at this game,
No, I'm a terrible player.
but I think I did all right this game. I think I did okay this game.
Sure.
Like- Thanks, Tom. I had a strategy, and I stuck with it.
Yeah.
And, here we are.
Yeah, there's a lot of palisades.
Thank you. So going into the history about these civs, I think the reason, or part of the reason why we chose these civs is because, I mean, I think it's interesting how offensive Huns are and how defensive Byzantines are. They're like you say, kind of the pinnacles of both those extremes, I think.
Yeah.
And historically,
They did.
there's some truth to that. So, I mean, is there anything you want to share with us about either of those civs in those regards?
Sure. Well, yeah, you kind of hit it right on the head there. I mean, they both represent opposite sides, and also that they did fight historically back in the past. I got a few notes here. Let's see. So the Byzantines, as you may or may not know, they were the Eastern Roman Empire, capital city Constantinople, or Istanbul, depends who you are.
Is there a song about that?
I'm pretty sure there is. We'll link it in the description. The major leader that I'm going to talk about today is going to be Justinian the Great.
Justin?
Justin. Actually, no, Justin was his uncle.
Really?
Yeah, Justin the First.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're not joking?
No, I'm dead serious. Justinian was a peasant boy, actually, and he just worked on the farm. And his uncle was like a swine herder and like a ex-soldier. And he's got a crazy story, but essentially he worked his way up and got into the throne room and ended up becoming emperor. But he didn't have any kids. So he took Justinian in, and he raised him to become the next ruler, because when he died, there was no heir. And Justinian was like, well, hey, I'm here. Sign me up. That's a very abbreviated version of what happened.
Is that verbatim?
More or less, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in
Yeah, is that exactly
Byzantine-ish?
Is that exactly what they said? Like exactly? Yeah, more or less.
More or less. There was one interesting story I read about his reign. He was a pretty good ruler overall. He did have his quirks and problems here and there, but there was one event in particular that stuck out to me, which was the I might be pronouncing it wrong, the Nika riots.
Oh, yeah.
Nika riots.
Terrible riots.
Did you hear about these?
No.
You read about them in the paper
No.
recently?
No. I'm not caught up with my Byzantine history. I actually took, when I was studying history education in undergrad, I took a class. It was just called the Byzantine Empire.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I dropped out after the first day. I was like, I can't do this, because it was just insanity. Up, and here I come reading. Here come the Huns.
Here come the Huns.
And this is me against Tom here. Oh, and you released your spearmen.
I had them garrisoned. Yeah,
That was a good move. That was a very good move.
that was my best move of the game.
That was definitely. That's your best move of the game
just
so
nowhere
far.
but down from there.
See, you should have came across the map with these guys. You should have pursued.
I just made them in time to defend.
You should have been.
I waited too long.
You should have been making more spearmen, for sure. Because right now you have the wood and gold, dude, and you're going up to castle. You should have way more spearmen than this. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I messed up.
So I sent my scouts. I loop my scouts around now.
I figured you would.
And you go
Yeah,
up to the
I read
north to try to counter me. I'm just like, yeah.
I had no idea.
And then you see me come
if you were
in.
gonna go all the way around.
And as soon
yeah.
as I see them, I'm like, nope, not going up against those dudes. Up, maybe I am. Nope. Oh, I tried to leave and they just went right through. I was so mad. I remember.
I was wondering what your plan was there.
I told them to go around and I didn't click right, and so then I was like, well, just outrun them. Like I can outrun them. But now, it's like as a player, you're wasting time like microing these guys who aren't accomplishing anything. But yeah, you should have like twice as many spearmen right now. You don't have enough spearmen. So I just wanted to try to harass you, but you actually defended really well there. That was some really nice defense.
Well, I immediately went spearman because I knew I was fighting the Huns. It's mostly going to be cavalry. I was going to be surprised if it was anything else.
Which would be an interesting move on my part, but
Yeah, it would have been clever.
yeah, I was just going for the crushing defeats there, or trying to. So you were saying about the Justinian revolts or whatever?
Oh yeah, the Nika riots.
Yeah.
So once he was in power, there was okay. So instead, this was Eastern Roman Empire. So at this point, Christianity was a big thing. So like the Colosseum with the gladiators and just rampant murdering was kind of off on the side now, not in the spotlight of tens of thousands of people now. So instead, they had a thing called a hippodrome, which is essentially more of an oval-shaped coliseum.
That was for horse racing, right?
Correct.
Chariot
racing.
Yeah.
And that was like the staple of Byzantine society back then. That was the corn, beans, squash, the meat of the empire. Everything revolved around it. The politics, the economy, the society, even some of the military too. There was a lot of political parties had stakes in the chariot racing, which influenced a lot of law and all other aspects of government, essentially. So it was a bit corrupt, but that's just the way it was back in 500. So essentially, the story goes, there were going to be 7 people executed, going to be hung. And
it's pronounced Huns.
Huns. They were going to be Huns. And the first one was hung, and the rope choked the guy. And then the second one continued, third, fourth, fifth. But at the 6th and 7th, when they both dropped, the rope snapped, and both of them landed. So they didn't get executed. Which was weird, because everybody, even the guards, were like, wait, what? What's going on? The executioner, before he even realized this mistake, was like, what? The crowd was like, oh, they went in an uproar to like try to save these guys. And like these 2 priests came up, or monks rather, and they went to shield them. And they like took them in, and they like ran away with them. While the crowd was up in a frenzy, like distracting the guards. So these monks like took the 2 guys down to like a river and then across it to a monastery area. And they held up there for a while with the monks until like soldiers came and were starting to harass them. But they didn't realize that these 2 individuals that weren't hung were actually 2 different political leaders of the political parties in the hippodrome. So the political parties were called the demis. So I'm going to refer to them as that. So the 2 leaders of the demis were like, oh my god, this guy's crazy, this emperor, let's not listen to him and team up and take him out, essentially. So their execution or attempted execution led to a lot of up in arms across the city, because like I said, this whole hierarchy and system in the chariot racing arena was the central source of entertainment and everything in Byzantine society. So everybody cared about it. Everybody was ingrained in it. So needless to say, a lot of people took it very seriously, and it was kind of a life or death matter. It was like an identity kind of thing. So these groups were, needless to say, pretty pissed off that the Justinian was but was leading to execute these 2 individuals. So the next day, or the next, event at the hippodrome, they all started chanting. I forgot the word. It might be Naza or something. I gotta look it up. I might be incorrect with that. But essentially it means conquer. And they were all shouting and chanting at Justinian. And he was like, oh, okay, this isn't good. Because
the mob.
This is not good.
The mob is turning.
The mob is turning. So, I mean, besides the whole thing with the political leaders, a lot of these people were just pissed off about the taxes. They were way too damn high, which seems to be a theme across the whole Roman Empire, not succeeding.
Yeah, it seems to keep coming up.
It's a carrying theme. So Justinian was like, all right, I'm out. So he left through like a little like cave system through his booth in the hippodrome down to his palace. because of course he has that. He's an emperor. He dips out of there, and the mob whips into a frenzy and goes on to burn a quarter of the city. So Justinian almost fled the capital too, while he was sitting in his throne room discussing it with his advisors, and his wife Theodora dissuaded him because she thought it was more noble to stay. And I have a little quote here that I'd like to read off that she said in the courtroom. So she's a woman. She's actually an actress she was. And that was unheard of to have an actress as a queen. But they sort of bent the rules because Justinian was emperor, of course. And, I mean, granted, he was also a peasant boy, too. So that's just another thing on top of it why the crowd was pretty mad that Justinian was the emperor, because he was just some peasant boy that wasn't royal blood. So she made a big point in the throne room of telling, essentially, Justinian was being a baby and he should stay and try to fight for the crown. So she said, she got up in front of all these people and said, "My lords, the present occasion is too serious to allow me to follow that convention that a woman should not speak in a man's council. Those whose interests are threatened by extreme danger should think only of the wisest course of action, not of conventions. In my opinion, flight is not the right course, even if it should bring us to safety. It is impossible for a person, having been born into this world, not to die. But for one who has reigned, it is intolerable to be a fugitive. May I never be deprived of this purple robe, and may I never see the day when those who meet me do not call me empress. If you wish to save yourself, my lord, there is no difficulty. We are rich. Over there is the sea. Yonder are the ships. Yet reflect for a moment whether you would once escape to a place of security, you would not gladly exchange such safety for death. As for me, I agree with the adage that the royal blue is the noblest shroud."
Shit.
Yeah. So she got up in front of everybody and said that, and then Justinian was kind of like, "Oh shit. All right, maybe I am kind of being a bitch. I should just stay and fight for the crown." So his woman spoke some sense into him, and he ended up staying.
And then he won.
And he ended up bribing the other political leaders of the demis, blockading the exits to the Hippodrome at the next event, ordering a mass slaughter of his mercenary soldiers of all the political upheaval people. And at the end of the day, 30,000 people died lying in the Hippodrome.
That sounds about.
That was 10% of the population.
Yeah. So was that during the, like the Eastern Roman Empire when it was like, what year was this?
This had to be like 500 something, but yeah, it was the Eastern Roman Empire because.
So this was.
As I said, the Hippodrome is very popular because ancient Rome was pretty much done. Christianity was kicking off because, as we know, Eastern Roman Empire is much more religious.
Wow. That's intense.
It doesn't seem very religious, 30,000 people dead, but you got to secure the crown.
That's part of it all. So along the lines of mass slaughter here, we have some going on ourselves.
Yeah, I went off on a tangent there.
No, that's a good preface to what we have going on here. So I think this is an interesting sort of, not parody of that, but it's an interesting sort of parody of how these civs function in terms of everybody's asking for resources. And in fact, I was tributing resources throughout this game to my allies because I knew, like, if they could make more units, that's helpful. Now, Purple, who's one of your Byzantine allies...
They're done.
He tried to invade Teal.
Oh, he did?
And he did great. He destroyed a TC. He was at this TC. He was lighting everything on fire. But then the Horde came in, and my Horde came to help. And we just rolled over Purple here, who's still alive because he built a TC over here. But you see, I came forward with these stables.
Oh, yeah, forget it.
And I have the unique tech to make Tarkans, which is my unique unit, which is pretty baller. It's got 120 HP, 10 attack with the upgrades, pretty good armor, and it's got bonus against buildings, and it's fast, and you can make it at stables. So
the Huns were crazy, man.
Yeah. What's up with them?
They would actually use artificial cranial deformation in their children and their babies.
That. Yeah.
It was like the first to sixth month of their lives, they would like just shape the head, which apparently it didn't like severely affect the person at all. It just changed their head and made them look kind of like alienish, made them like a cone head sort of deal.
Yeah,
So,
George R. R.
like-
Martin has those in his books too. You don't see them. They're in the like extended histories. Like,
Are they?
They're farther from. They're like how the Dothraki are the Mongols. It's switched, and like they have these people called like the Jagos Nahai or something, and they live on like they live way farther than the Dothraki, and they have cone heads.
That's pretty scary.
And they ride zebra horses. They ride zorses.
Yeah, so that's like very,
it's very
novel
Hun.
to you and me. And the Huns, when they had these crazy cone heads and they were charging down with their traditional ethnic traits, the Romans were not prepared for that. They've never seen anything like this before, so they're
Checks out, yeah.
on horses, screaming, shooting arrows, causing a panic. A lot of their strengths came from psychological warfare too, which you see with the Mongols too later on. Which I thought was interesting. There's a lot of parallels between the two civs.
We'll have to do another. Any civ that's cavalry based, a mobile civ. There's going to be parallels, and I think we have another probably Mongol matchup coming up at some point, for sure. But you see these Tarkans, they just move, and once you can just build stables, like I built these forward stables right outside Purple's base.
Yeah, you guys ate purple.
And I can just target, say like, all right, this stable, send units here, and just like kill all these villagers.
Yep.
Send villagers there, kill all the, like build more stables and kill those villagers.
You can't tell by now the end is nigh.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know, man.
We'll see. And I mean,
look at Orange.
I'm not
getting
even
attacked
in
by
the
green.
Imperial Age yet. Yeah. That's intense. I'm not even in Imp. Wow. Yeah. But where am I here? Oh yeah, I'm already cutting across to green to orange to try to mess up orange. And
stuff, man.
I mean, your allies have the right idea here with these, rams and camels to try to take out my cavalry, but
Rams? Those are your Rams, man.
oh, you had rams earlier hitting my stables. I guess we ate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right though. Like the Huns and the Mongols do share parallels, certainly in terms of what their attributes are.
Well, they're both from Central Asia area. They rode horses. They used psychological warfare. They utilized the composite bow a lot.
Oh, and this is where
There's a
you were
lot.
really upset that I was attacking your base. Remember? You got so mad at me
Yeah.
because I had sent a Tarkin to chase a trade cart.
Yeah, and you're taking out my guys. I was like,
Well, no, he
alright.
he starts auto targeting.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. All love fair is what is it? All.
All's love and fair in war.
Yeah, that's it.
No, all's war in.
All's fair in love and war.
That sounds like nonsense.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
See, I'm taking out your trade carts, bro.
Yeah, those aren't even mine.
Oh, well, now
I
I'm
was
killing
too
your
stupid
villagers.
to do it. Yeah, that's when I started to get mad.
Yeah, you were tilting hard.
Did you know Attila the Hun had an agreement with the Romans to pay him 700 pounds of gold a year and he would stay away?
That sounds like a lot of gold.
Yeah, and they weren't paying it, so he came and like almost conquered them. And he came like 20 miles from Constantinople till the emperor had to agree to pay him 2,700 pounds a year.
What is he gonna do with all that gold?
I don't know, build a castle
Yeah, what does he need it for?
made of gold?
Yeah,
I don't know.
like what are you gonna
I
do
guess
with
pay
it?
his pay his army. It's got to be like a lot of upkeep. I think that was his problem towards the end, or at least the Huns' problems. It was just such a expansive area. I mean, the 500s. That's a long time ago, and that's a lot of area to cover.
And the Huns actually predate the Mongols or the Mongol Empire
By a lot.
I mean the Mongol Empire was like
700, 800 years?
the Mongol Empire didn't really arise till like
12, 1300s?
yeah, whereas the Huns were getting it done in much earlier times, going back to the Western Roman Empire.
Going back to like the fall of the Western Roman Empire and the
Yeah.
rise of the Eastern.
And my strategy really mirrors that. Like what I was really trying to do here is just keep moving forward and take out the production, take out the farms, take out the lumberjacks,
Hey,
take out the
man,
gold
I mean,
miners.
it's working.
You can have castles and defensive structures, but up and then purple falls. You know what I mean? If you can't defend your economy,
You see, my problem was all my allies were dying, so I was trying to help, and then I just couldn't.
it was too late.
It's too late. Yeah, it
was too
done.
late.
I told you.
So it's going to be an amazing comeback, though, which the people will see in a moment. So it's coming. Rest assured. Yeah, but you can see like once that cavalry spam starts going, it's tough to stop. It's really tough to stop. Yeah, see?
Oh, you can't stop that.
Now these guys are just coming in, just chopping down lumberjacks. It's not great. You needed more walls, I think.
I need a lot of things.
Well, so much of history is people forget that, walls really, they work.
They work. I mean, they don't always work, though.
All you need is a
you have a big enough army.
Is a GoFundMe, and
What?
you can build a wall.
Oh, God.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
Oh, somebody started a GoFundMe to build Trump's wall.
Really? They're
Yeah.
gonna raise $6 billion?
No, they're up to 6 million.
6 million?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. I heard that the biggest...
So this guy's just gonna profit off of this and take 6 million and pocket it. That's America, baby.
Well, I think one of the biggest donors so far is somebody who's trying to build the wall, like one of the contractors.
Oh, really?
Like, I guess it's like a tip jar. I don't know if that's true, but I guess it's like a tip jar, like you try to put in money to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Let the people pay for it. I don't want to pay for it. I'm not paying for it. It's not my wall.
Well, I got news for you. I don't think anybody's paying for it.
That's fine. Let the guy that wants to build it.
Yeah, he could pay for it.
Let the guy
himself,
that wants to dish out 6 million dish out
Yeah.
6 million. It has nothing to do with me.
So you see here, is this my RAM or their RAM? Oh, okay. Yeah, so you see I'm just
All the Rams.
like spamming these Tarkins now, like sending them forward. And now I have elite Tarkins, which are just utterly devastating because they have upgraded. Look at their HP, 170 HP, 15 attack, and I can make them from stables too.
Yeah, I still got this in the bag. I don't know why you thought.
Oh, so we have a drop here, so just give us a moment. And
We'll be right back with you.
yeah, we ran out of... I don't know what happened here, but we'll reload in a moment. Okay, sorry about that. We had somebody's inferior computer crash on us.
Yeah, you really gotta update yours, man.
So, if somebody would get a less horrible
if you
computer,
could just
maybe they could
donate
beat
and
the Huns.
subscribe to our Patreon, and we can improve our studio equipment.
Yes, because our equipment in our real live studio right now is very not up to par. So
That's correct.
as you can see, I'm burning town centers.
Yep.
I love the Tarkins too because I think they have like little flaming torches that they swing.
Yeah, you kind of separated me from my teammate there. You just ate the other two.
Well, what
And then here comes the green.
what should my plan have been? And there you go, retreating.
Falling back. Well, I was trying to attack green there.
Did you see I was killing your gold miners?
Yeah, I led an insurgency on green at some point in this game, and it just didn't take.
Too little, too late.
It wasn't at this point. It was probably earlier. But you see, I'm trying to build rams. And it's
Do
just
Byzantines
too late.
get halberdier?
The Byzantines are a great defensive civ, just not against like 3 or 4 hardest AI Huns all at once.
Oh, you get halberdier, bro. You should have upgraded to halberdier.
I think I was working on it.
Well, too little, too late.
Well, yeah. Clearly.
Yeah. So again, once the Huns get rolling, and you got a nice setup here with these castles.
Yeah, for now.
But look, it's closing in.
Yeah,
It's closing in very quickly. And look at your
Hunnic horde.
look at your little men running forward,
Yeah, they were just sending them to their death.
like a good true Roman emperor, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So I think I was still mopping up green because I realized that they weren't dead, and I figured I'm not so worried about.
There goes orange.
I was more concerned with you than I was with your robo allies.
I don't know why. The AI are probably better than me on hardest. In fact,
but
I
you
can
can
tell you they are better.
But
than
you can
me.
be sneaky.
Yeah.
You're human. The robot doesn't know how to be sneaky.
I beg to differ.
You're not convinced?
No.
Yeah.
Be a trick sometimes. They're clever on this one,
Yeah.
the HD AI.
Well, it's tough too, like you say, when you're doing a 4v4 with AI. I mean, we would do like an actual multiplayer, but it's easier to get through the game when you're playing AI and be able to talk about it. And it's more fun than just a 1v1 because you have allies and you have more going on. But you're right, like once you lose one of your teammates, it really starts to snowball.
I mean, look at green just pouring into my base now.
Yeah, this game already snowballs so easily.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the tribute
Yeah,
phase. It's
I
over.
think it would help if we were both on flanks. Like if I were on the flank being attacked and you were, it would be more even. But I really had an advantage being in the pocket there.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm running.
And I'm
over
by
for-
myself at this point.
Yeah. So 1v4. So the
prepare for
comeback
the
is going to
comeback.
be very impressive. Yeah. I
Let's
mean,
go.
yeah.
The hype.
Here it comes. Well, your men are fighting bravely. They are fighting boldly. Your castles are going down, but
Yeah.
and you did get halberdiers, so you had the right strategy at this point, but you needed way more production buildings. First of all, 3 barracks is not enough.
No.
Because you're at what pop right now? 46. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because they all died. That's why I'm at 46 pop.
But you see,
'Cause all my villagers got killed. Or
dead.
half of them got killed, and then
I should be at 200 pop by now. The fact
You
that I'm
should.
not at 200
As the
pop
pocket, I'm shocked.
is outrageous. I might as well have quit the game. But you see, I'm coming.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
You actually held on longer than I expected.
If you go to the north now,
Oh, I saw that you were up to shenanigans.
did you see that happening?
I don't think I saw that, but would that have shown?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it just showed because he was already
yeah, because I was
showing.
locked on, or I was on off of Fog of War. Yeah, but I saw your little maneuver that you try later on. Oh yeah, this game
What are you
gets
talking
really
about?
weird at the end. I forgot about that. This game gets really weird at the end.
Ah, there they are.
But anyways, yeah. So I'm just trying to mass my troops, and I'm sending forth the trebuchets. And once you have trebuchets
Yeah, it's
that can't
mass
be
Tarkins.
yeah. Well, even with mass Tarkins, like yeah. So your castles are the strongest in the game, but look how fast they're going down to my
Tarkins
Tarkins.
alone, not even any siege.
because I think I have I'm pretty sure that's the Tarkin bonus, right? They have bonus
They're-
attack versus
yeah.
buildings. I think
Correct.
is their whole thing. Yeah, attack versus buildings. So that's a huge difference. So yeah, I mean this is probably a worst case civ for you to be fighting, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like there's other siege civs you probably wouldn't want to fight, like the Celts maybe. Celts probably wouldn't be great.
I think the Ethiopians have a good siege onager.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Byzantines would be best against archer civs, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to play against the Britons or
Even like an infantry one, I think.
yeah, maybe somebody with not much
Just
siege or
cataphracts
not
are
much
anti-infantry.
mobility,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But you're right, at this point
Oh, I saw the writing on the wall.
it's all over the map.
That's
the
why I
writing.
was falling back to start my comeback.
So we didn't actually get to talk a lot about the Huns this game
No.
in terms of them as an actual civilization, but again, I'm not as familiar with them as I am with the Byzantines. As far as I know, I mean the Huns as we know them, we pretty much know them as the era of Attila, right? Like that's kind of their
Yeah, they
their-
really started to fall off after
their
he
heyday.
died.
So like I don't even know when they lasted until I'm sure if you look in the game, I should go back and play the scenarios because I haven't played them in years. And I know like there's in terms of historical accuracy, there's discrepancies sometimes, but
A couple.
there's a lot of about like Attila and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they do
in-
have a
in
whole
the
Attila
scenarios,
campaign.
Yeah, in the campaigns.
But they got far. They had a lot of land. Central Asia through almost Europe, pretty much.
Yeah.
They were invading Gaul. They weren't very successful. They were, but they couldn't hold it. By that time, they were starting to decline. But they got pretty far,
It's interesting
They're up there.
how historically
for sure.
there really is this sort of balance between stable empires that have a stable presence, like the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire, where they're all about bureaucracies, right, and like big buildings and that sort of thing. And then you have people like the Huns, the Mongols, the Vikings, right, where they're just running amok all over the place, and that's to their advantage. Like they're fulfilling a role that, if it's done right, you can't stop them.
Can't stop it.
Yeah, and a lot of it's being in the right place at the right time. Like there's been plenty of horse.
This horde.
Yeah, this is a horde.
This is horrifying.
There's been plenty of cavalry civilizations throughout history, right? But you have to be in the right place in the right time to be known as Attila the Hun, as Genghis Khan. Like there's a reason why we know those those people in our memories, in our histories.
Go to my my view. And my fog of war. As you can see my terror.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
My last few buildings.
that's horrifying.
As the horde closes in on my... As they chop down my forest next to my last castle there in the north.
Horrifying. So you still have one castle and one villager. Oh, he sent these villagers forth. I forgot about these villagers.
I was trying to escape, and he palisaded his corner for whatever paranoid
Because
reason.
I knew that you were up to no good. So he tried to send these villagers forward, and then I'm trying to
block me
I'm
in.
trying to wall them off with all my vills. Yeah, and your guys just panicked. I could have just shanked your villager to death.
Yeah, and you almost did.
Yeah, well, I had some villagers trying to attack, but then I just tried, or I could have just made a Tarkin or like have.
That's not as fun.
But I'm trying to
More of a challenge.
wall off your one guy.
Well, I don't know what I was doing there too. I just started to palisade that guy in because I panicked.
Oh my! Oh god! There they go. Oh, you have a couple guys. Left.
Yeah, not for long. And then I think at this point I just gave up because I realized you just palisaded.
What was your
the
plan
entire-
exactly?
I was trying to go to the corner behind you and then boom again somehow.
Just hide in this corner.
Hide in the
and
corner,
boom.
baby. Yeah.
You know, classic.
I
Byzantine
should have went to
strategy.
the opposite corner. I should have went down where my allies were.
That would probably work better.
But there was a lot of Tarkins in the way.
Anyways,
So that wraps that up.
so yeah, that's what happens when the Byzantines aren't ready for the horde.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's why they paid that extra 2,100 pounds of gold per year.
Hey, I would. You know.
God knows I would.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you for joining us on this Rage of Empires. I wanted to talk. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Huns, but we're out of time. So we'll have to do another Huns matchup.
Yeah, we'll do another Huns episode.
I'm sensing Huns versus Mongols in the future, perhaps.
Perhaps.
What's that?
I don't know.
Perhaps.
It's my emperor voice. My dead emperor voice.
Perhaps for the empire, for the glory of empires past. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, on that note.
Yeah. So if you have any recommendations for other matchups you'd like to see, for us to talk about, for us to play as, please let us know in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. We'll do some matchups, some different matchups, whether they are historically accurate or historically ridiculous. We do both.
Correct.
So, yeah. Again, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
And have a very happy holidays and New Year. We'll see you on the other side of that
Oh yes.
for the new year. All right. Actually, we should look at achievements
Yeah.
before we go. So I killed everybody.
Yeah.
Actually, you had
No.
more kills than I did.
Green killed everybody.
You had way more deaths, so
Yeah. Well, you know.
we
I
just had
lost.
way more kills than you guys. You guys had way more deaths, but look how many buildings I destroyed, and I had the biggest army, because you know I'm better. Yeah. See, I was tributing them. Wait, I got tribute. Who did I get tribute from?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I asked for tribute. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
All right, thanks again. Later.
So long.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.